Hey, what's happening, guys? Dan Darrow here with another Options and Play video update. So I've talked about earnings last few videos. Actually, I've talked about earnings the last few weeks. Just how kind of anticipation builds for earnings season gets crazy over like a 2-3 week stretch. Ton to do, ton to look at. And today I'm not going to talk about earnings. Today I'm going to talk about a different sort of catalyst, so a biotech event. All right, and I may or may not know, I do have something of affinity for biotechs. I love trading biotechs. Probably probably one of my most closely watched areas over the last few years, actually. So I'm always kind of have like my finger on the pulse of like what's coming up, what's expected, and as we neared the fourth quarter, AXSM, definitely one of the ones that kept popping up with multiple big expected headlines. All right, and uh, may or may not be familiar with AXSM. It's small cap bio. They're in the CNS space. Okay, so they had a really nice start to the year back in January. Some positive phase two data that really kind of like set the stock on like a path just screaming higher, as you can see. And when I wrote up the trade for the options to play, it was back when the stock was actually up in like the mid 20s. And then so this was like a few weeks ago, and what happened was competitor, well, maybe not necessarily a competitor, but like another biotech that was running kind of like a similar trial or a similar uh, method of activism action. The drug failed. Sorry, it was like a word cluster there. It failed and it dragged down AXSM. You could see it had this huge washout. So that actually wasn't specifically related to AXSM. Now, with October over halfway through, we have exactly 2.5 months for AXSM to report their own data, and now there's four specific press releases that we're going to be watching for. Okay, so there's going to be two phase three readouts, and then three phase three readouts and one phase two readout. There's the probably the one closest to come in is going to be a phase three treatment resistant depression. All right. And then later in the quarter, you're going to have just a major depressive disorder. So that's going to be another phase three. And then we have like a phase two, like phase three registrational Alzheimer's data agitation. All right. So each of those on their own are probably like $1 billion targets. So with the market cap of like between 600-700 million, depending on the day, uh, positive data in probably any of those three could, on its own, send us like very, very, very sharply higher. Obviously, with biotechs, the risk, there's always a degree of risk for the data failing or flopping, right? And I mean, just to give you an idea, you can pull up the December option. So, like I said, I mean, they're pricing in a huge move, so you can see it's a December straddle right here, December 20th. So, I mean, you could even possibly make the argument that might not even like go, like it might not capture all of them, but just to give you an idea, like the December 20 straddle. So just to say, look at like the 2250 right here. You can see they're pricing in almost like a 13 and a half point move for a 20 and change dollar stock. So that's a very, very, very significant price to move. I mean, if you want to go out to January, that should almost guarantee that you're going to get all of those catalysts. So December 20th, high probability that you're going to get it. January probably almost guarantees that you're going to get all those catalysts. And if you look at the same straddle, the 2250, you're looking more in like the 15 point range. So I mean that's almost like a 75% move. So just a lot of volatility expected in the very near future on this one. And what I like to do with biotechs is again kind of like the same idea with like all sorts of different events like earnings events, is to keep the risk mostly in line with like that predetermined range that we normally have, right? So it's not like stepping up and like throwing like a ton of money at specific events. Have like that risk window that we like to target on most of these types of catalyst trades, right? So it's just kind of determining whether you want to be a little bit more conservative and do something closer to money with spreads, or for me personally, like with biotechs, because if the data is positive, there could be like really significant upside that could surprise people. I try to like not cap the upside, so that's why oftentimes you'll see like the positions are further out of the money, because normally I feel like if the data is very good and impresses, then they tend to have a ton of upside. Definitely follow through. They could, be floated around as possible like M&A targets, right? So that's why like I like to go further out of the money. Obviously, there's associated risks with that, but I like to go further out of the money and like not cap on the upside. On the downside, obviously, at a $22 stock, it's pricing in 13 to 15 points. Well, I mean, like your downside's obviously going to be capped at like the zero, right? I mean, it's not going to go below zero. A lot of times, if you're looking at downside targets on bios that are basically all pipeline, you're want to like back out cash. Okay, so if you're looking at the downside target, I mean, outside of like what's priced in, you could say that AXSM has about 50 million in cash. So that would be about 90%. So about 10% of the market cap, even maybe a little bit less, is in cash. So could have significant downside from where it's at. All right. So I just wanted to I wanted to put this on your radar because it has basically three phase threes and then one phase two, which I didn't even mention, which is it's narcolepsy. Oh, excuse me, migraine. So it'll be a migraine readout, and that's maybe not as important as the phase threes, obviously, but definitely could be market movement as well. So this is pretty much four big catalysts coming up in a 2.5 month window. Options are very expensive, but at the same time, this could be one of those names that if things play out on the on the bull side, it could be up quite a bit. On the bear side, I mean, there's basically less than 10% cash, so could have a significant downside. So, a couple big binaries, and really expect it to be a super, super, super busy finish to the year for AXSM, right? If you like this idea, or if you're looking for other trade ideas, or if you're looking for more education or option information, please follow up with the link in the video for more info on options to play. All right. If you have questions about this trade specifically, or even maybe some other trades that are open, please reach out. I'd love to hear from you guys. So best of luck with any of your trades tonight, and I'll talk to you all tomorrow.